All right, y'all, we're gonna bring y'all a short video today. I looked all over YouTube and I could not find a video on lowering a new Chevy Blazer 2019 and up body style. I've never seen one lowered that I know of. John reached out to me and wanted to know if we could lower it a little bit. And the only kit that I could find, there was a couple companies that made kits, but every one of them was like 1 inch to 1.5 inches maybe-ish, not extremely lowered. So we settled on this iBot kit. It is a E10-23-039-01-22, whatever that means. Front and rear coil springs. I've never done one of these, so we're about to learn together. It should be about like KK's Escape was. It's just going to be struts in the front, coil springs in the rear. It may be rear struts, but I doubt it. It's probably just going to be like a coil spring. Should be very simple. We're just going to jump in and show you how to do it real quick. We're not going to make this a long, drawn-out video. I am going to do some measurements real quick and see actually how much it did lower it. So I'll get the measurements, get on the rack, and we'll be right back. All right, so I got my measurement, 32.5 on the front. Rear is 32 and 33 1/4. It's 3/4 of an inch higher than the front. First thing I'm gonna do while it's still on the ground, pop the hood. We're gonna take these struts loose. There's 3 13 millimeters right here. I already broke them loose with the ratchet. They shouldn't spin out by hand. So there's 3 on each side. You got 3 here, 3 there. That's gonna take the top of the strut loose. And then when we pick it up, the wheel's gonna look like it's gonna fall off. It's because the strut's not bolted up, but it's necessary. So we're gonna get these pulled out, picked it up, get the tires off, and we'll be right back to show you what we did next. All right, so we gotta get the strut out. We already got the top loose. There's 2 bolts here we're gonna take loose. We got a sensor here that's gotta come loose. Just gonna take the clip tool, come right here. We're gonna pop it loose, pop it out of here. We gotta take the sway bar loose, and once we get that little bit loose, the strut will come out. Very simple. So I'm gonna zip these bolts out, and we'll be right back. So shouldn't take just a minute, hopefully. These bolts are braided in. Look right here. So what you have to do is you have to take the nut off and then spin the nut back on. Take your hammer and knock them loose, and then you can get them out. If you hit them with the impact, you will round them. Ask us how we know.
How do you know?
Because we just did it.
Uh-oh.
So when we go to put that back together, we'll tighten that nut down and pull it back in there. Everything will be fine in the world.
I don't think about that.
All right, we'll be right back. Stupid door. Whatever. So I've got the strut up here on the table. I've got a compressor string. I've got the McPherson strut spring compressors. You can get those at O'Reilly's. You can rent them if you don't have one. I do so many of them. I've actually got like 3 sets of them. So you got a compressor string so that you can take this nut off. And if you do not, that sun gun will come out there like a rocket. So make sure that you do this the right way. It's kind of a pain because this bottom shield is so big, it's hitting the threads. But we're gonna get this off real quick. And voila, nuts loose. You gotta take the top thingamajig bob off. It's got a bump stop on the inside.
What in the world? What kind of bump stop is that?
A funky one. Alright, now we're gonna loosen these so we can get the spring off. And then we got a new spring for it.
I think you broke it.
It's dead.
Well, YouTube thought that was funny.
Yeah. All right, let me go get the new spring, and I'll be right back. All right, we got the new spring. It also comes with a new bump stop. It's got a part number stamped into it. I can't really read it. 770044. The paperwork that comes with the springs will tell you which one's the front, which one's the back. This one is the front. So we've got to fish this one out. It was very hard to do.
Very.
And then we're going to just stick this one in there. And then once we put this all back together, the strut shaft will go up through there and it will line up like it's supposed to. If it does not, it will cause you severe aggravation. So we're going to try to get it lined up as best we can through this snuffleupagus tube here. All right, I've got to put these strut compressors on here, try to get all this put back together, and I'll be right back. All right, so we had to compress our spring a bunch to get it on, but we got it on here. Make sure you line the bottom up like this. There's a retainer there, rubber retainer to keep it from squeaking. Top's got a rubber one. We also line the end of the pigtail up. Got the top hat back on. It's sitting a little crooked when you get on. That's no problem because the coil spring is kind of uphill. Once you tighten the nut, it'll push it down where it needs to be. we're gonna take these off, throw this thing back in the car, and get ready to do the other side. So, give me just a minute, we'll be back at the car. All right, first thing we're gonna do before we hook any of the suspension up is we held it up here. There's two dowels made into the strut that's gonna go through these alignment holes. They'll only go one way, so you stick those up through, and you can reach over the top, start the nuts or the bolts. We just run them down finger tight, and then we're gonna pick the car back up and put the suspension back on. We're gonna have to turn the bottom of the strut. I just seen that, but that's no big deal. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So, all right, if you notice the strut's turned the wrong way, it's very simple. The top of this strut has got roller bearings in it so that when you turn the wheel as you're driving, the strut can pivot separately from the top mount. So it's very simple to get it back in. We are going to have the transmission jack, it looks like, to jack this up. So let me get that situated, and we'll come back and show you how to put all this back together. So we're going to try to line these up, and then we got the jack under the edge of the rotor there. We're just going to jack it up where it needs to be, which is about, too far.
Right there.
Right there. And then we're going to take our bolt. Remember which way we put them in. This side's bradded.
The annoying one.
So we're going to just stick it through there. Start the nut, both of those. You can probably just tighten this down and pull it, but I'm going to take the hammer and try to seat it in there a little bit. That way it don't spin on me. All right, let's see if you got to find the impact. Pause. Ready?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to tighten these down. You see it just pulled it right back in like it's supposed to.
Should have told them to take their headphones off.
Yeah, because that was probably loud.
Yeah.
All right, so
Dylan's here.
yeah, Dylan's here. Can't hear you.
Yeah,
so we got to
you
hook the
probably
sway bar
can.
back up and hook this this stuff back up, and this side is done. And we have to do the other side. Once we get it done, we'll do the back. We'll come back and show you in just a second. All right, I got the new coil in on the driver's side. I want to do it first just to make sure everything went right before I showed y'all, just in case it didn't go right, and then we could figure out a better way to do it. But the best way I have found to do this is to take this top of the shock loose up there, which I did not do before I picked the car up, which because I'm an idiot. And we're going to take this lower control arm loose and let the back come down to get the coil spring out. But first, before we do anything else, we're going to mark this cam bolt for the alignment, and that way we can put it back in the same place where the alignment will be really close. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that real quick. You see on this side we got it, and when I tighten it down, it turned just a little bit. I'm going to come back and turn that just a little bit to get it back where it was. But when I tightened it down, it moved a little bit. And I said, well, when I get the stuff back out to do this one, I'll do that one. So we're going to go ahead and mark that with a Sharpie. Just like so. And then I'm going to let this down and do the top of the shock. And I'll explain this in a second. All right, so you got your inner fender here with your wheel off. There is a plastic clip right here. I'm going to get that off, and I'll show you what to do next. Next, we're going to grab this fender liner, and we're going to pull it back, and you can get to the top of the shock there. There's 3 15 millimeters. I'm going to zip those loose real quick with my 3/8 impact. They're not super tight, so we're just going to zip those off, and we'll be right back. All right, so this will explain the C-clamp. Basically, this control arm is going downhill at a pretty good angle. I've got my transmission jack pitched where it fits up perfect, but we're trying to keep it from sliding because we don't want this to fall apart and hurt somebody. Me, I don't want to get hurt. So we just put a C-clamp around it. We got it real tight, and that keeps this from being able to slide, and that's all. That's its only purpose. So we're going to take this cam bolt loose. It is a 13/16 on this side. Like I say, we marked this. So we're going to take this loose, and we will tap this bolt until we get this washer out. As you can see right there, well, it's kind of hard. My light, it's not cooperating. There's this little raised part here that this cam pivots off of. And that's what you set your alignment with. You want to get that bolt out of there before you take the impact and spin it out. Once you get that back, you can just zip it out with a 13/16. It'll come right out. And I was a little scared over here. I didn't know what was going to happen when the control arm come loose, but it just bolt fell out. Control arm just sit there. I let the jack down and pulled the coil spring out. So give me just a second. I'm gonna get that loose and I'll show you. All right, so we just zipped that bolt out with the impact. You see it drop down a little bit, not much. It wasn't bad. So we're just gonna let this transmission jack down. Take this pressure off of this coil spring. You see there, just super smooth, simple. It's pulling it away up at the top. I know my light is making this real hard to see. I'm sorry. But this thing got dark on me. It's getting dark at 5:30. Junk sucks. So I'm gonna pull this coil spring out and I'll show you in just a second. All right, so you got these rubber isolators on the coil, top and bottom. We're just gonna transfer those over. The lettering goes up so you can read it like normal. It's not upside down. So I'm gonna swap these over real quick and we'll stick those in. And we also have some bump stops to change. So give me just a second, I'll get those stuck back in and we'll put it back together. All right, you can see we got this coil spring back in here, top and bottom. It's got nipples on the top and the bottom to sit the bottom of the coil spring in. So it's real simple. Hang on just a second. See if I can fix this. I had to turn the flash on for y'all. But anyway, it's got nipples at the top and the bottom that the coil spring goes into. If it's not in there, it's could fall out. But I got it jacked up here where I can get this bolt back in. I can move this transmission jack in and out and get this bolt aligned so it moves real easy. I mean, you can see it right there. Just give it a little push. So I'm gonna line that up and stick that bolt in and run it in, and then put the nut on the back side with the washer. And when I get that done, I'll come back. Also, I want to show y'all this. This is pretty interesting suspension here. It's got 4 points of contact on the spindle. You got an arm going this way. You got one going this way. Then you got one on the bottom going the same way. And then you got this one going straight. So you got 2 straight ones, 2 angled ones, sway bar, and a shock. So, but while I got this, bolt the shock back up, put the clip back in the center fender, put the wheels on, and we're ready to set this thing on the ground. It's done already. And just like a callus, she shows up when all the work's done. And last thing, before we check our measurements, when you let it back down, don't forget to tighten the top of your struts. I did not do that earlier. I waited till I was sitting on the ground, but it is definitely lower than it was. And Dylan's back again. But we're gonna drive it and let the springs and all settle, put a few miles on it, and then we'll come back and measure our final height and see what it ended up at. All right, so we drove it down the road, done a bunch of the little whoop-de-doos, trying to make it settle. Original measurement was 32.5. I have not checked this yet, so I'm going to be as surprised as y'all are. That is 31 1/4. So it went down exactly 1 1/4 like it said it was going to do. So seems appropriate. Let's see what the back did. 33 1/4. So this should be 32 if it actually went down 1 1/4, and it is about 32 1/4. So the back only went down about 1 inch. But the back is a coil spring, not a strut, so it will probably settle a little bit over the next few days and be about where it says it's going to be. It's not a drastic change, but there's not a whole lot of aftermarket support for these things, which is crazy because they've been out since 2019, so they've been out like 6 years. You would think they would have everything for them. They do make sportier versions than this, and they look pretty good. Chris, his wife, has one. Did you see it, babe? The white one with the black roof? Mm-mm. You didn't see it? They got one. It looks really good. They had an all black one before, like this one that was the sport or whatever. I don't know what they're called, but the fancy one. So, and you know Chris is extra, so he had to buy the fancy one. But he did tell me over the weekend they're about to buy something different. She wants that Acadia. I told him no, he didn't. I said, you do not want one of those. They are terrible. No, it wasn't an Acadia. It was the other one. Equinox. I don't remember. Anyway, all right. So here's the Blazer. Back up. Go that way. There we go. All right. So it is done. I will get y'all some daytime pictures out in the yard tomorrow before I send it back to the owners. Didn't want to do a real long video. Just wanted to, like I said, I looked on YouTube. I could not find a single video of one of these getting lowered. And these how-to videos on odd stuff seem to do pretty good on the channel. So I know a lot of times when I'm trying to figure out how to do stuff and I can't figure it out, and I find that one guy on YouTube that's done the video on it, he sure saves the day. So maybe I'll save the day for somebody with a Blazer that wants to lower it. 1 1/4 inches. Yeah. We're gonna get out here and get on Dawson's frame again. So see you on the next one. Bye.
Standing on the porch in the night, thinking how we used to be way back in time. Barefoot on the grass, open skies. I can feel it every time I close my eyes. My eyes.